50 police officers showed up at a 9-year-old girl's door. Not to arrest anyone, not to deliver bad news. They came because of a sandwich. Half a peanut butter sandwich, the only food this little girl had left, that she gave to a starving man on a bench.
Can you bouncy?
A man she'd never met. A man nobody else would even look at. She didn't know he was someone important. She didn't know that one act would flip her entire life upside down. She didn't think about what she'd lose by giving away her only meal. She just saw a hungry person, and she shared what she had. And what happened next? I promise you, you're not ready for this. But to understand it, we need to go back to the beginning. So yeah, that's how it all began. Let's get into it. Richmond, Virginia, East Side. The kind of neighborhood where the streetlights flicker more than they shine, where every other storefront is boarded up, where the bus doesn't come on time, if it comes at all. This is where Mila Scott lives. She's 9, skinny, quiet, the kind of kid who doesn't complain, not because everything's fine, but because she figured out early that complaining doesn't change anything. Mila lives with her grandmother, Lorraine Scott, 65 years old, bad knees, arthritic hands. Works part-time cleaning office buildings on the other side of town. The kind of job where nobody learns your name. They just notice when the trash isn't emptied. Lorraine is all Mila has. Her mother, Denise, died 3 years ago. Car accident. One rainy night, one intersection, one truck that didn't stop. Mila was 6. She doesn't talk about it much. But there's a photo of Denise on the living room wall. Young, smiling, wearing a yellow sundress. Every morning, Mila walks past that photo on her way to the kitchen. She doesn't stop, but she always glances. Every single morning. Their house is small. 2 bedrooms. 1 bathroom with a faucet that drips. A kitchen where the linoleum is peeling at the corners. But here's the thing. It's clean. Spotless. Lorraine makes sure of that. She says a house can be poor, but it doesn't have to be dirty. That's her pride. Maybe her only pride left. This particular morning, a Tuesday, Mila wakes up at 6. No alarm. She just wakes up. Makes her bed. Folds her pajamas. Walks to the kitchen. She opens the fridge. Almost empty. A bottle of ketchup. Half a stick of butter. Some leftover rice from 2 nights ago. She doesn't react. Doesn't sigh. Doesn't say anything. She just closes the fridge and opens the cabinet. 1 jar of peanut butter, almost scraped clean. 2 slices of bread, the last 2 in the bag. The heels. The ones nobody wants. Mila takes them out, spreads what's left of the peanut butter on both slices, presses them together, wraps the sandwich in a paper towel, and puts it in her backpack. That's her lunch. That's all she's got for the whole day. Lorraine comes out of her bedroom, moving slow. Her knees are bad today. You can tell by the way she grips the doorframe before she steps into the hallway. You eat something, baby? Yes, ma'am. I had cereal. She didn't. There's no cereal left either. But Mila says it anyway, because she knows Lorraine will skip her own food to feed her, and Mila would rather be hungry than watch her grandmother go without. 9 years old, already carrying weight that would crush most adults. Lorraine sits down at the kitchen table. There's a stack of envelopes, bills. She opens one, and her face tightens, sets it face down. Opens another. Same reaction. Face down. Then she picks up the phone. Mr. Brennan, this is Lorraine Scott. Yes, sir. I know it's overdue. I just need 1 more week. I get paid Friday and I can... She listens. Her jaw clenches. Yes, sir. I understand. Thank you. She hangs up, sits there for a moment. Then she pulls 1 more envelope from the stack. This one she doesn't open. She already knows what's inside. The eviction notice. 30 days. She hides it under the fruit bowl before Mila comes back into the kitchen. Grandma, I'm heading out. You got your lunch? Mila pats her backpack. Yes, ma'am. You be good. Always am. Mila walks out the front door, down the porch steps, past the cracked sidewalk, 6 blocks to the bus stop. She passes a payday loan shop with neon signs, a church handing out free coats, a barber shop where old men sit outside arguing about nothing. She reaches the bus stop, sits on the bench, sets her backpack on her lap, swings her legs, hums a little song, something her mother used to sing. She doesn't remember all the words, just the melody. And that's when she sees him. At the far end of the bench, a man, white, mid-50s maybe, thin, not just thin, hollowed out, like something had been eating him from the inside for a long time. His jacket is torn, his hands are shaking, not from the cold, from something deeper. He's slumped over, eyes half closed. He looks like he hasn't eaten in days. Mila looks at him, looks away, looks back. She doesn't think about it. That's the part that gets me. She doesn't run the math in her head, doesn't weigh the pros and cons, doesn't calculate what she'll lose. She just reaches into her backpack, pulls out the sandwich, unwraps it, and tears it in half. Not down the middle. She gives him the bigger piece, keeps the smaller one for herself. She places it gently on his knee, doesn't say a word, doesn't tap his shoulder, just sets it there, like it's the most normal thing in the world. The man's eyes open. He stares at the sandwich, then at her. His lips tremble. Why would you do that? Mila shrugs, casual, like someone just asked her why she picked the blue crayon. You looked hungrier than me. That's it. That's all she says. She bites into her little half, chews quietly, looks straight ahead. The bus is coming down the block. She can see it 3 stops away. The man picks up the sandwich with both hands, shaking. He takes one bite, closes his eyes, and a tear rolls down his face. Then another. He's not crying because of the food. He's crying because someone saw him. For the first time in, he can't even remember how long, someone looked at him like he was a person. The bus pulls up, doors open. Mila grabs her backpack, hops on, finds a seat by the window. She doesn't look back, doesn't wave, doesn't wait for a thank you. She's already thinking about her spelling test. The man sits there, holding half a peanut butter sandwich made from the last 2 slices of bread a 9-year-old girl had in her house. And he breaks down. Right there on that bench, sobbing. Nobody stops. People walk past. A woman pulls her kid closer and crosses the street. A guy in a suit glances over and keeps moving. Nobody stops. But here's the detail that changes everything. Mounted on the wall of the convenience store across the street, there's a security camera. Small, easy to miss, and it caught the whole thing, every second. The sandwich, the tear, the girl who gave without thinking. That footage is going to matter, more than anyone knows yet. Now, back to Lorraine. While Mila is at school, Lorraine takes the bus across town to clean offices. 3 floors, bathrooms, break rooms, conference rooms where people leave half-eaten lunches in the trash. Lorraine empties those trash cans without looking. She gets home around 4, tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. There's a voicemail from Mila's school. The fourth grade field trip to the Science Museum is next month. $25 per student. Permission slip due Friday. Lorraine listens to it twice, then deletes it. She calls the school back. Mila won't be able to go. She'll be sick that day. She hangs up, stares at the wall. $25. That's all. And she doesn't have it. That evening, Mila comes home. She can tell Lorraine is tired, more tired than usual, but she doesn't ask. She sets her backpack down, does her homework at the kitchen table, eats the leftover rice from the fridge, cold, with a little ketchup. Later that night, she sits on her bed and opens a small notebook. It's worn, pages soft from handling. On the first page, there's a title written in careful 9-year-old handwriting. Things I'll buy Grandma when I grow up. Number 1 on the list, a house with a dishwasher. Number 2, new shoes that don't hurt her feet. Number 3, a really big TV so she can watch her shows without squinting. Mila adds a new one tonight. Number 4, a full fridge. She closes the notebook, puts it under her pillow, pulls the covers up. And across town, at Richmond General Hospital, a man is being wheeled through the emergency entrance on a stretcher. Dehydrated, malnourished, barely conscious. A paramedic checks his pockets for ID, finds a crumpled military veteran's card, reads the name, Edward Whitmore. He freezes, looks at his partner. Call this in. Now.
Nah, wait. She really gave away her only meal. Like, her only one. And she kept the smaller half? I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know if I would have done that. Most people wouldn't, but she didn't even think about it. She just did it. Yeah, that's the part that gets me.
Now let me take you somewhere completely different. Downtown Richmond, a building made of glass and stone. The kind of building where security guards wear earpieces and the elevators don't stop on every floor. 5th floor, corner office, oak desk, leather chair. An American flag in the corner. Photos on the wall. Handshakes with governors, senators, generals. This is the office of Commissioner Gerald Whitmore. 62 years old, silver hair, jaw like it was carved from granite. The kind of man who walks into a room and everyone straightens up. Not because they like him, because they know better. Gerald Whitmore runs the Richmond Metropolitan Police Department. Has for 11 years. Old money, old power, old rules. The kind of man who believes problems are things you manage, quietly, efficiently, without mess. He's reviewing budget reports when his phone rings. Private line. He picks up on the second ring. Commissioner Whitmore. He listens. His hand stops moving.
The pen drops. Say that again. He listens more. His face doesn't change. Not exactly, but something behind his eyes shifts. Something cracks. Where? Pause. Which hospital? He stands up, grabs his coat off the back of the chair. His aide, a young officer near the door, notices. Sir, is everything all right? Gerald doesn't answer right away. He buttons his coat, straightens his collar, then, quietly, they found Eddie. The aide blinks. Your brother? Gerald walks past him without another word. Here's what you need to know about Eddie Whitmore. He's 54, Gerald's younger brother by 8 years, served 2 tours overseas, came back different. The Eddie who left was loud, funny, the one who made everyone laugh at Thanksgiving. The Eddie who came back barely spoke, couldn't sleep, couldn't sit still, couldn't be in a room with too many people. PTSD, then alcohol, then worse. Gerald tried to help, but Gerald only knows one way to help: control,
give orders, fix things by force. 2 years ago, Gerald arranged a treatment program. Expensive, private, the best doctors money could buy. But he didn't ask Eddie. He told him. Showed up with paperwork and a car waiting outside. Eddie looked at his brother and said, "I'm not your case to manage, Gerald." And he walked out. Disappeared. 2 years. No phone calls. No address. Nothing. Gerald searched at first. Filed a report. Sent officers. But Eddie knew how to vanish. The military taught him that. After 6 months, the trail went cold. After a year, Gerald stopped talking about it. Not because he stopped caring, because it hurt too much to keep hoping. And now, this phone call. Eddie, alive, found at a bus stop in East Richmond, collapsed, barely breathing. Brought to Richmond General. Gerald drives himself to the hospital. No motorcade, no sirens. Just a man in a dark coat driving too fast through downtown traffic. He gets to the hospital, walks past the front desk without stopping.
Nobody stops a police commissioner. Room 412. He pushes the door open, and there's Eddie. Thin, so thin it doesn't look real. Arms like sticks. Cheekbones sharp enough to cut glass. An IV drip in his left hand. Monitors beeping, slow and steady. But his eyes are open, clear, lucid for the first time in God knows how long. Gerald stands in the doorway, doesn't move, doesn't speak. Eddie turns his head, sees his brother, and for a long moment, neither of them says anything. 2 years of silence sitting between them like a wall. Then Eddie speaks first, voice rough, barely above a whisper. "Before you say anything, I didn't call you. I wouldn't have called you." Gerald swallows, nods. "I know." He pulls a chair to the bedside, sits down, folds his hands. "Then who found you?" Eddie's face changes. Something softens. "A little girl." Gerald leans forward in the chair. "A little girl?" Eddie nods, slow, like even that takes effort. "I was on a bench." Bus stop on Garrison Street. I don't know how many days I'd been there. 2, maybe 3. Couldn't stand up anymore. Couldn't think straight. Everything was just noise. He pauses, stares at the ceiling. Then she sat down. Gerald waits. Little black girl, 9, maybe 10. Backpack bigger than she was. She sat at the other end of the bench and just looked at me. Not the way people usually look. Not the don't make eye contact look. Not the should I call somebody look. She just looked at me, like I was a person sitting on a bench. Eddie's voice cracks. She pulled out a sandwich, peanut butter. I could smell it. And Gerald, she tore it in half, gave me the bigger piece, kept the little one. Gerald doesn't move. I asked her why. You know what she said? Gerald shakes his head. You looked hungrier than me. Silence. The heart monitor beeps, steady, relentless. Eddie turns to look at his brother, eyes wet. I've been on those streets for 2 years. 2 years, Gerald. People walked past me every single day. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Some threw change. Most pretended I wasn't there. A few told me to get a job. He swallows hard. And a 9-year-old girl. A kid who clearly doesn't have much herself. She's the one who sat down.
She's the one who shared her only food, not half, the bigger half. Gerald's jaw is tight. He's staring at his own hands. She didn't know me, didn't ask my name, didn't ask for anything. She just gave. And then she got on the bus and left, like it was nothing. Eddie closes his eyes. That's the first time in 2 years someone treated me like a human being. Gerald sits there for a long time. The room is quiet except for the machines. Then he pulls out his phone. What did she look like? Small, thin, school uniform, navy blue, braids pulled back with a white ribbon. She got on the number 14 bus heading east. Gerald types something, hits send. What are you doing? Eddie asks.
Finding her. He calls Lieutenant Brenda Holloway. Brenda is his community liaison officer, sharp, organized, the kind of person who remembers every name and every detail. Brenda, I need you to pull security footage. Bus stop on Garrison Street, this morning, between 7 and 7:30. There's a camera on the convenience store across the street. Brenda doesn't ask why. She just says, "Give me an hour." It takes her 40 minutes. She calls back. "Commissioner, I have the footage. Sending it to your phone now." Gerald opens the video, holds the phone so Eddie can see too. There she is. Grainy footage, but clear enough. A little girl sits on a bench, reaches into her backpack, pulls out a sandwich wrapped in a paper towel, tears it in half, carefully, like she's done it before, places the bigger piece on the knee of the man beside her, keeps the smaller piece, eats it, gets on the bus. No hesitation, no performance, no looking around to see if anyone's watching, just quiet, instinctive kindness. Gerald watches it 3 times, doesn't say a word. Eddie watches his brother's face, sees something he hasn't seen in years. Gerald's eyes are red. Finally, Gerald speaks, quiet, almost to himself. Kindness without an audience is the only kind that counts. He puts the phone down. Brenda, I need you to find this girl. Name, school, address, everything. Brenda traces the bus route, contacts the school district, cross-references the uniform. Within 2 hours, she has it. Her name is Mila Scott, 9 years old, 4th grade at Eastwood Elementary. Lives with her grandmother, Lorraine Scott, on Maple Drive. Father unknown, mother deceased, 3 years ago. She pauses. Commissioner, I pulled their records. The grandmother works part-time as a custodian. They're behind on rent, 3 months. There's an eviction notice on file. Gerald closes his eyes. This girl, this child, who gave away her last sandwich. She's about to lose her home. He sits in the hospital room for a long time after Brenda hangs up. Eddie has fallen asleep. The IV drips, the monitor beeps. Gerald makes 3 phone calls. The first, to the Richmond Police Community Fund. I need 3 months of back rent covered for a family in East Richmond. Process it tonight. Anonymous. The second, to Brenda. Organize a collection from the officers, school supplies, groceries, clothes, whatever you can put together by morning. The third call, the one that changes everything. Brenda, one more thing. I want 50 officers in full dress uniform at this girl's house tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. sharp. Silence on the other end. 50, sir? 50. I want them lined up from the sidewalk to her front door. I want her to open that door and know that what she did mattered, that someone saw it, even if she didn't think anyone was watching. Brenda is quiet for a moment. Then, I'll make it happen. Gerald hangs up, looks at Eddie sleeping, reaches over and pulls the blanket up over his brother's shoulders. He whispers, "She did."
what I couldn't do. She brought you back. Now, that same night, across town, Lorraine tucks Mila into bed, pulls the covers to her chin, smooths her braids. Mila looks up. Grandma? Yes, baby? I gave my sandwich away today, to a man at the bus stop. He was really hungry. Lorraine's hand stops. You gave your lunch away? Just half. Well, I gave him the big half, but I wasn't that hungry. She was. She'd been hungry all day. She just doesn't say it. Lorraine's eyes fill up. She blinks fast, forces a smile. That was a kind thing to do, baby. Is it okay? I know we don't have a lot. Lorraine strokes her forehead, lies for the second time today. We have plenty, sweetheart. Don't you worry. Mila closes her eyes, asleep in minutes. Lorraine walks to the kitchen, opens the fridge, stands there looking at the empty shelves, closes it softly, sits down at the table in the dark. She doesn't know that 3 months of rent has already been paid. She doesn't know that 50 officers are pressing their dress uniforms right now. She doesn't know that everything is about to change. She just sits there, alone, wondering how she's going to make it through the week. 6 a.m. the next morning. The sun isn't fully up yet. Just a thin line of gold along the rooftops of Maple Drive. The neighborhood is quiet. A dog barks somewhere down the block. A screen door creaks. Inside the house, Mila wakes up the way she always does. No alarm, eyes open, feet on the floor. Bed made before she leaves the room. She walks to the kitchen, opens the cabinet, stares at it. Empty. No bread, no peanut butter, nothing to pack. She closes the cabinet, doesn't react, just pours a glass of water and drinks it standing up. Lorraine is already on the phone in the hallway. Same voice as yesterday, same tone. Tired, careful.
Begging without wanting to sound like she's begging.
Mr. Brennan, I just need until Friday. I'll have something by Friday. Please? Mila pretends she doesn't hear. She puts on her school uniform, navy blue, white ribbon in her braids, backpack on. Same routine, same girl. She doesn't know today is different. But outside, 2 blocks away, it's already started. Police cruisers are pulling up, one by one, quietly. No sirens, no lights. Officers step out in full dress uniform, dark blue, brass buttons, white gloves, shoes polished to mirrors. They line up along the sidewalk, silent, disciplined. 2 rows forming a perfect path from the street to Mila's front porch. A neighbor across the street peeks through her blinds. Then another, then another. Doors crack open. People step onto porches in bathrobes and slippers, whispering. What's going on? Is somebody in trouble? That's the Scott house. At the end of the block, a dark sedan pulls up. Gerald Whitmore steps out. No uniform, gray suit, no entourage. He buttons his jacket and walks toward the line of officers. Behind him, a second car. The door opens slowly. Eddie Whitmore gets out. Clean clothes, hair cut short, still thin, still a little unsteady, but standing on his own feet. He takes his place at the back of the line. The last officer nods to him. Eddie nods back. Brenda Holloway walks the line one final time, checks every collar, every glove, every position. She looks at Gerald, nods. "We're ready, sir." Gerald takes a breath. "Let's go." 3 knocks. Firm. Even. The kind of knock that means something. Lorraine freezes mid-sentence. The phone was still pressed to her ear. Mila looks up from the kitchen table. 3 more knocks. Lorraine hangs up, walks to the door slowly, looks through the peephole. She steps back. "Mila, stay behind me." "What's wrong, Grandma?" Lorraine doesn't answer. Her hand is shaking as she reaches for the doorknob. She opens it, and the whole world shifts. 50 officers, standing in perfect formation, 2 rows stretching from the porch down to the street. Morning sunlight catching the brass on their uniforms, white gloves at their sides. Not one of them moving. Lorraine grabs the doorframe, her knees almost buckle. "Oh my God! Oh my! What is this? What happened?" Mila squeezes past her grandmother, stands on the porch in her school uniform, backpack still on, eyes wide, mouth open. She whispers, "Grandma, did we do something wrong?" The lead officer, Sergeant Darren Cole, tall, broad-shouldered, 20 years on the force, steps forward, removes his hat, gets down on one knee so he's eye level with Mila. "Sweetheart, we're not here because you did something wrong." He smiles, gentle. "We're here because you did the only thing that was right." Mila blinks, doesn't understand. Then Gerald steps forward from the side, gray suit, no badge. He walks up the path between the 2 rows of officers. Stop at the bottom of the porch steps. "Mrs. Scott, my name is Gerald Whitmore. I'm the commissioner of the Richmond Police Department." Lorraine stiffens. A police commissioner at her door. Every instinct in her body is screaming that this is bad news. "Ma'am, I'm not here in any official capacity. I'm here as a brother." He reaches into his coat, pulls out a tablet, turns the screen toward Lorraine and Mila. "Yesterday morning, at the bus stop on Garrison Street, your granddaughter did something extraordinary." He presses play. The security camera footage, grainy, slightly tilted, but clear enough. A little girl sits on a bench, pulls out a sandwich, tears it in half, places the bigger piece on a man's knee, eats the smaller piece, gets on the bus. No hesitation, no audience, no expectation. Lorraine watches. Her hand comes up to her mouth, slowly. She turns to Mila. "Baby, you gave away your lunch?" Mila looks at the floor, shifts her weight. "He was hungry, Grandma. That was all we had." "I know." Lorraine's face crumbles. Not anger, not disappointment, something deeper. She realizes her granddaughter went hungry the entire day yesterday, ate cold rice and ketchup for dinner without a word of complaint, because she'd given her only food to a stranger. She pulls Mila into her arms, holds her so tight. Gerald gives them a moment, then speaks again. "Mrs. Scott, the man on that bench, that's my brother, Eddie Whitmore. He's a veteran. He served 2 tours. He's been struggling for a long time. He's been lost, to us, to himself, for 2 years." Gerald's voice is steady, but his eyes are not. "Yesterday, your granddaughter was the first person in 2 years who looked at him like he was a human being. She shared her last meal with him, and because of that, because she was there, he's alive today. He's in the hospital. He's getting better." Lorraine is crying now, quietly, tears running down her face. Gerald kneels.
Eye level with Mila.
"Mila, do you remember the man you gave your sandwich to?" Mila nods, small. "Do you know who he is?" Mila shakes her head. "His name is Eddie, and he's right here." Gerald steps aside. At the back of the line, the very last position, Eddie steps forward. Clean clothes, fresh haircut, still thin, still a little shaky, but standing, walking. Mila sees him. Her eyes go wide.
Eddie? She doesn't call him Mr. Whitmore. She doesn't call him Sir. She calls him the only name that matters, the name of the man on the bench. She runs down the porch steps, past the officers, past Gerald, straight to him. Eddie drops to his knees, catches her in a hug. He's shaking. She's shaking. He whispers into her hair, voice broken. "You saved my life with half a sandwich." Mila buries her face in his shoulder, doesn't say anything, just holds on. 50 officers stand at attention. Some of them are blinking hard. A few aren't even trying to hide it.
Sergeant Cole turns his head slightly and wipes his eye with the back of his glove. Lorraine stands on the porch, hand over her mouth, watching her granddaughter hold a man she saved with the only thing she had. Gerald watches too, and for the first time in a very long time, he doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have a strategy. He doesn't have an angle. He just has this. After a long moment, Brenda steps forward, clears her throat softly. "Mila Scott, on behalf of the Richmond Metropolitan Police Department, it is my honor to present you with the Civilian Commendation Medal for an extraordinary act of kindness that represents the highest values of our community." She opens a small velvet box. Inside, a medal, gold, engraved. Mila stares at it like it's from another planet. "You are the youngest person in Richmond's history to receive this honor." Mila takes it with both hands, looks at it, looks up at Lorraine. "Grandma, look." Lorraine nods, can't speak.
But Gerald isn't finished. He reaches into his coat again, pulls out an envelope, hands it to Lorraine. "Mrs. Scott, this is from the Richmond Police Community Fund. Your back rent, 3 months, has been taken care of." Lorraine opens the envelope, reads the letter inside. Her hands are trembling. She looks up at Gerald, opens her mouth, closes it, opens it again. Nothing comes out. Gerald just nods. "Your granddaughter earned this, every bit of it." Then, a small truck pulls up at the curb. Brenda organized it overnight. Officers' families donated through the night. Groceries, school supplies, new backpack, winter coat, boxes of food. 2 officers carry the first box up the porch steps, then another, then another. Neighbors are on their porches now, watching. A woman across the street starts clapping. Slow at first, then her husband joins, then the man next door, then the whole block. Applause rolls down Maple Drive like a wave. Mila stands in the middle of it all, medal in one hand, Eddie's hand in the other. She doesn't fully understand what's happening. She's 9. But she knows one thing. She's not hungry today. By noon, the story is everywhere. Clive Rawlings, a local reporter who Brenda invited to cover the ceremony, posts the security camera footage alongside his own video of the 50 officers lined up on Maple Drive. He titles it, "9-year-old gives starving man her last meal. What happens next will break you." Within an hour, it has 10,000 views. By 3 o'clock, 200,000. By dinner time, over 1 million. And it's not slowing down. The comments pour in, thousands of them. Most of them are beautiful. "I'm a grown man sitting in my truck crying over a peanut butter sandwich. This child has more humanity in her little finger than most of us have in our whole body." Mila Scott, remember that name. People start sharing their own stories. A woman in Ohio talks about a stranger who paid her grocery bill when her card was declined. A man in Texas describes a homeless vet who gave him directions when he was lost.
Small kindnesses. The kind nobody films. The kind nobody claps for. Mila's story cracks something open. A crowdfunding page appears, not set up by Gerald, not by the police department, but by a stranger in North Carolina who saw the video and couldn't stop thinking about it. Title: For Mila and Lorraine, because kindness deserves a safety net. $5,000 in the first hour, then 10, then 20. Lorraine doesn't know about any of this. She's in the kitchen putting groceries away, opening boxes, stacking cans in the cabinet. She keeps stopping to touch them, like she's making sure they're real. Mila is at the kitchen table doing homework, metal sitting next to her pencil case. Every few minutes, she looks at it, touches the edge, goes back to her worksheet. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It doesn't last, because with attention comes noise, and not all of it is kind. By evening, the other comments start showing up, the ones that feel like a punch to the gut. Convenient timing. Cop PR stunt. Why does everything have to be about race? So a black kid gives a white man a sandwich and suddenly she's a hero? Please. This is poverty porn. They're using this child. Lorraine finds them. She's not on social media much, but a neighbor texts her a link. You should see what people are saying. She shouldn't have looked. She reads one comment, then another, then another. Each one a small knife. Not because they're true, but because they take the purest thing her granddaughter ever did and twist it into something ugly. She turns off her phone, sets it face down on the table, sits there in the kitchen, same table, same chair. But the air feels different now. The next morning, Lorraine calls Gerald. Mr. Whitmore, I want to thank you for everything you've done. I truly mean that. But I need to say something. Gerald listens. I don't want my granddaughter to become a display, a headline. She's 9 years old. She gave a man a sandwich because she's a good kid. That's all. She didn't do it for medals. She didn't do it for cameras. And I don't want her growing up thinking kindness only matters when somebody's filming it. Silence on the line. You said something yesterday, Mr. Whitmore. Kindness without an audience. That's what Mila did. And right now, with all this attention, it feels like we're putting an audience on it. And I don't like how that feels. Gerald is quiet for a long time. Then, you're right, Mrs. Scott. And I'm sorry. He means it, because Lorraine just held up a mirror. His own words, kindness without an audience, and he'd turned Mila's act into the biggest audience in Richmond. That afternoon, Gerald makes calls, declines every interview request, shuts down media access.
Issues a statement through Brenda. The Scott family has asked for privacy. We will honor that completely. Brenda contacts the crowdfunding platform, asks them to disable comments. The money keeps coming in, but the noise stops. That evening, Eddie calls Mila from the hospital phone. Hey kid, are you doing okay? I'm okay. Are you eating? Eddie laughs. First real laugh in years. Yeah, 3 meals a day. They won't let me skip. Good. Pause. Eddie, I don't like being on the internet. Yeah, me neither, kid. Can it just be normal again? Eddie smiles, looks out the hospital window. It's gonna be better than normal. I promise. 2 weeks later, Eddie is still at the VA hospital, but he's different now. Eating 3 meals a day, sleeping through the night, most nights, walking the hallways in the morning, talking to the counselors, not because anyone's forcing him, because he wants to. He started working in the hospital's wood shop, occupational therapy, something to do with his hands.
The instructor showed him how to carve. Birds, mostly. Simple shapes, smooth edges. Eddie turns out to be good at it. Really good. There's something in the repetition, the slow scraping of the blade, the grain of the wood revealing itself, that quiets the noise in his head better than anything else has in years. He's working on a small bird right now, a wren. Fits in the palm of his hand. He's been sanding it for 3 days, getting it perfect. A nurse asks him, "Who's that for?" Eddie holds it up to the light, turns it slowly. "For the girl who sat with me." Meanwhile, Gerald is doing something he's never done before. He's asking for permission. He sits across from Eddie in the hospital courtyard. 2 brothers on a bench. Different world. Same silence. "I talked to the VA director," Gerald says. "There's a full rehabilitation program, housing support, job training, counseling, long-term."
Not the 30-day kind, the real kind.
Eddie stares at the trees across the lawn. "I'm not telling you to do it," Gerald adds, quickly, like he's catching himself. "I'm asking. It's your choice." Eddie doesn't respond right away. 2 years ago, you showed up with papers and a car, told me I was going whether I liked it or not. You remember what I said?" Gerald nods. "You said, 'You're not my case to manage.' And I meant it." Pause. A long one. "So what's different now?" Gerald looks at his hands, opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. "I watched that video, the one from the bus stop, and I saw that little girl just sit down. She didn't give a speech, didn't have a plan, didn't try to fix anything. She just sat next to you and shared what she had." He swallows. "And I realized that's all you ever needed. You didn't need me to manage you. You needed me to just be there, like she was." Eddie watches his brother's face, searching for the angle, the calculation.
The Gerald he knows, the one who always has a next move. He doesn't find it. "You really mean that?"
"I mean it." Eddie looks back at the trees. A bird lands on the fence, hops along the railing. "Okay, but I decide. Every step, I decide." Gerald nods. "You decide. And if I want to stop, I stop. No guilt, no pressure. No guilt, no pressure." Eddie exhales, long and slow, like he's been holding his breath for 2 years. "Okay. That's it. No handshake, no hug, just okay." But Gerald's eyes are red when he stands up, and Eddie pretends not to notice, the way brothers do. Now, Lorraine. Something unexpected arrives in the mail, a letter from a legal aid organization. The return address reads Richmond Community Justice Center. Lorraine opens it cautiously. She's learned to be afraid of envelopes, but this one is different. The letter explains that Lieutenant Brenda Holloway referred her case to the center.
A pro bono attorney has reviewed Lorraine's rental agreement, and what they found changes everything. Her landlord, Mr. Brennan, has been overcharging her for years. Illegal fees buried in the fine print, maintenance charges for repairs that were never made, a late penalty that exceeds the legal limit by 300%. The letter lays it out in plain language. Lorraine reads each line twice. The attorney, a woman named Claire Dawson, is offering to represent Lorraine at no cost. She's already filed a formal complaint with the Housing Authority, and she's requesting a renegotiation of the lease. Lorraine sits at the kitchen table. Same chair she sat in that night in the dark. Same table where she hid the eviction notice under the fruit bowl. She reads the letter one more time. Then she picks up the phone and calls the number at the bottom. "Ms. Dawson?
This is Lorraine Scott. I got your letter. Mrs. Scott, thank you for calling. I want you to know, you have a very strong case. Your landlord has been in violation for at least 3 years. We can get your rent reduced by 40% and have the eviction notice thrown out entirely. Lorraine is quiet. Mrs. Scott, are you there? I'm here. I'm just... She presses her hand flat against the table, steadying herself. Nobody ever told me I had rights. Claire's voice softens. You do, Mrs. Scott, and we're going to make sure they're respected. 2 days later, it's official. The eviction is canceled. The rent is renegotiated. Lorraine's monthly payment drops by nearly half. No more threats, no more begging Mr. Brennan for 1 more week. And here's what matters. This isn't Gerald pulling strings. He didn't call the judge, didn't send an officer, didn't use his badge. This is the system working the way it's supposed to. When someone cares enough to connect the dots. Brenda saw a family in need. She made 1 phone call. That phone call reached Claire. Claire did her job. The law did its job. That's not power. That's people. The evening it's finalized, Lorraine comes home from work, opens the front door, walks to the kitchen. The fridge is full. The crowdfunding donations came through, gift cards, grocery deliveries, a local church that organized a food drive specifically for the Scott family. Mila is at the table, homework spread out. She looks up. Grandma, why is the fridge so full? Lorraine sets down her bag, looks at the fridge, looks at Mila. She smiles. First real smile in, she can't remember how long. Because people remembered how to be fair, baby. Mila tilts her head. What do you mean? I mean, sometimes the world gets it right. Not always, but sometimes. Mila thinks about that for a second, then nods, goes back to her homework. Lorraine opens the fridge, just to look at it. The shelves are full. Milk, eggs, bread. Real bread, not just the heels. She stands there for a moment, hand on the door, eyes closed. Then she whispers, so quiet that Mila doesn't hear it. Thank you, Denise. Our baby's gonna be all right. She closes the fridge, wipes her eyes, starts making dinner. A real dinner, with enough for seconds. 1 month later, a Saturday afternoon, warm, October sun coming through the kitchen window in long golden stripes. Lorraine is at the stove, stirring a pot of soup, the good kind, with real chicken, real vegetables, real broth. Not the kind from a can, the kind that fills the whole house with a smell that says, somebody loves you. A knock at the door. Gentle this time, not 50 officers, just 1 man. Mila runs to open it. Eddie stands on the porch. Clean flannel shirt, jeans that fit, hair trimmed neat. He's still thin, that won't change overnight, but his eyes are different. Steady, clear, present. He's holding something behind his back. Hey, kid. Eddie! Mila grabs his hand and pulls him inside. Grandma made soup, the real kind. I know. I could smell it from the sidewalk. Lorraine comes out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel, sees Eddie, smiles. You look good, Eddie. I feel good, Mrs. Scott. This is the first time I've been able to say that and mean it. He reaches behind his back, pulls out the wooden bird. Small, smooth, perfect. He kneels down to Mila. I made this for you, in the wood shop at the hospital. It's a wren. They're small. Eddie's hand shakes a little when he lifts the spoon. Mila notices, doesn't say anything, just slides the bread closer to him so he can reach it easier. Lorraine says grace, Eddie bows his head. First time he sat at a table for a meal with family in over 2 years. After dinner, Mila asks Eddie about the military. He tells her a funny story about a sergeant who was afraid of spiders. She laughs so hard she snorts. Lorraine laughs at Mila laughing. Eddie laughs at both of them. The kitchen is small. The table is small. The house is small. But right now, right here, nothing about this feels small. Later, after Eddie has gone, Mila and Lorraine sit on the front porch. Evening. Fireflies are just starting to blink in the yard. Mila holds the wooden bird in her lap. Lorraine puts her arm around her granddaughter, pulls her close. You know why I'm proud of you? Because I helped Eddie? Lorraine shakes her head. Because you helped him when nobody was watching. Mila leans her head against her grandmother's shoulder, closes her eyes. The fireflies float. The porch creaks. The sky turns purple. Quiet. 6 months later, Eddie lives in a small apartment near the VA. Nothing fancy, clean, quiet. His. On the windowsill, 3 wooden birds he carved himself. He volunteers at a veterans shelter on weekends, teaches other guys how to work with their hands, tells them the same thing every time. You're not broken. You're just stuck. There's a difference. Every Sunday he drives to Maple Drive. Dinner with Lorraine and Mila. Their table has 3 chairs now. Permanent. Mila's school starts a new program. They call it the Kindness Bench. A wooden bench outside the front entrance. Any kid who needs someone to talk to can sit there, and someone will come every time. The plaque on the side reads, "Inspired by Mila Scott, because sitting down matters." Lorraine finally gets her dishwasher. The day it's installed, Mila opens her notebook,
Finds the list. Crosses off number 1 with a big red marker. Grins so wide, her cheeks hurt. Gerald attends an addiction awareness fundraiser. He doesn't give a speech, just sits in the back row, listens, learns. After the event, he sends an anonymous donation to Mila's school. No note, no name, no audience. Why'd I even tell this story? 'Cause think about it. A 9-year-old with nothing gave everything. And it changed a whole man's life. Like, that's not even a movie. That's real. So yeah, if that hit you at all, drop a comment, like it, share it, and subscribe.